Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Ali. I'm a junior doctor working in Cambridge, and in this video I'm going to be sharing my thoughts about the non-academic side of university and overall why I think the experience is very much worthwhile. The reason behind this video is that there's this organization called Universities UK that represents 137 of the universities in the UK, which is probably like the vast majority of them, and they reached out a few weeks ago and asked me to make a video where I talk about my experiences of being at university, and this is something that I would happily talk about for hours on end, so I thought why not make a video about it. So big thank you for Universities UK for being kind enough to sponsor this video, and then at the end we'll talk a little bit about a competition that they're running where you basically send in a photo and you can win an iPhone XS, which is all very exciting. So yeah, let's talk about the non-academic side of university, and I kind of want to focus on 2 points. Firstly, I want to talk about the personal development side, and then I want to talk a little bit about like the social collaboration-y side of being at university. And then at the end I'll share my thoughts about why I think the whole experience is worth it, and as always there's going to be timestamps to each of these sections in the video description, so you know you can skip around if that's what you're into, or you can just watch the whole video or whatever you like. So let's start with the personal development side. For most people, university is obviously going to be the first time that you kind of strike off on your own, the first time you're away from home, having to do your own laundry, having to cook your own meals. I say these last 2 points because that wasn't really the case for me. I went to Emmanuel College, Cambridge, awesome place, where they do your laundry for you, and there aren't really any cooking facilities when you're in college accommodation. So most people tend to have most of their meals in the cafeteria, the dining hall, where there's pretty reasonable and very reasonably priced food that's made by the award-winning kitchen staff. So yeah, for most people, you will probably learn to cook and do your own laundry at university, but my personal development on that front was slightly stunted, but that's fine because there's so many other benefits of university. From a personal development side, I think one of the main things that university gives you is that it's the first time that you are truly in charge of your own time. Like before uni, when you're at school, your time is quite rigidly set out for you. And yeah, your hours between 4 p.m. and 11 p.m. or whatever are pretty much your own. But if you have homework and if you've got exams, and if you've got the sort of parents that made you do tons and tons of extracurricular activities, or if you decided yourself to do tons and tons of extracurricular activities, that's generally very structured time. And university is the first time where you're going to have like large swaths of unstructured time where you can pretty much do whatever the hell you want. There's lots of different ways of spending this time. For some people, they end up getting really into World of Warcraft or Overwatch or, you know, Fortnite these days, and end up essentially kind of using, I don't want to say wasting, but using all the university time playing video games. And that's fine if that's what you're into. For other people, they get involved in different societies, they pick up new hobbies, new skills. The stuff I learned at university personally, so in my second year, I took up the guitar. In my third year, I took up the piano. I joined like 2 different choirs, a singing troupe for the hospital pantomime. So I kind of developed my musical interests at university, and it was quite nice. Like I didn't really learn piano or guitar from a specific joining a society point of view, but it was more the fact that I had all this unstructured time. And like if you have a 2-hour gap between your morning and afternoon lecture, you might as well spend that time learning how to play River Flows in You, so that when you go to the Grand Arcade, which is the Cambridge Shopping Centre, you can sit on the piano and bust out a classic tune that would get kind of Chinese tourists kind of filming you on their phones. But, you know, what were we talking about? Yeah, personal development. Unstructured time, you can pretty much spend it however you want. And I think it takes people a while to get into this. Like when I was in my first year, I did not use my time that efficiently. But as I got through university, I began to realize that actually I've got so much spare time and I can use it to do all these various things. And I don't think I would have got that experience had it not been for university. Also, from a personal development standpoint, for me anyway, university was the first time that I actually had female friends. I went to an all-boys grammar school in Southend-on-Sea, and I wasn't really cool enough to be in the kind of group of kids that would hang out kind of by the girls' school over lunchtime, and I didn't take the bus home, so I didn't make friends that way. And it just ended up being me and my guy friends pretty much for the whole 7 years. We had some girls in sixth form, but again, I feel like I wasn't cool enough to really be close friends with any of them. But then I got to university, and then suddenly my friendship group became like 50-50 boy-girl ratio, and that was really interesting. It was interesting because firstly, it taught me how to talk to girls, which is something that, like, you know, it's just like surprisingly hard to do, and then you kind of do it, and you're like, okay, this is not so bad. I feel like I viewed girls as almost being another species, but then after a while I realized that actually these guys aren't so bad. I was also quite hormonal in my first year and ended up falling in love, I think, and then, you know, feeling all those kind of like heartbreaky sort of emotions and all that stuff. And I feel like university is kind of a good time to experience those. Also, in terms of rejection. So university was really the first time I'd ever been seriously rejected, like not just romantically, but also in other things. Like, you know, I'd applied to things and I didn't get them, which was unusual because generally when I was in school, I would apply for stuff and get it. It was also the first time I found myself not automatically being like in the top few people in the class, which was an interesting experience. I remember the first essay I got back where I got 54% in this how do bones grow essay, and I was absolutely shocked because 54%, that's you know, I was so used to getting marks in the 90s without putting much effort in at school, and then to suddenly be kind of taken down many pegs really did wonders for my own personal development, because it helped me lose almost the arrogant streak that I developed while I was at school, thinking that it was all so easy. And then I realized I actually had to do some work and put some effort in, which overall benefited me a lot. I also think in terms of rejection, like when you start applying for things and you don't get them by default, I think that really helps you grow as a person, because it helps you realize that actually, you know, the worst case scenario isn't so bad and rejection isn't so bad, and you might as well apply for stuff. So like in my third year, I applied to go to Harvard for a year. That would have been pretty awesome. A friend of mine did that. He had an absolutely incredible experience. But I didn't get it. I got beaten out by people that were better qualified or just had better applications or whatever. And that was a good thing from like a personal development standpoint, because, you know, the world moved on and it didn't really matter at the end of the day. And I think that's a good lesson to learn very early in life. Okay, so that's it from a personal development standpoint. I could literally talk about this for hours, but I want this video to be semi-manageable, so let's end it there. Let's talk a little bit now about the collaborators that you would get at university. And I say collaborators rather than friends. Like, obviously you make friends at university, you make great friends, you have fantastic times, you go on holiday together, you go on club societies, you play sports together, you sing songs together. That's all like kind of the friendship side of things. But that's like not particularly, I don't know, it's not particularly novel. I think everyone kind of knows that you make good friends at university. But I want to focus a bit about collaborators, because I think university is probably the best time in your life where you have the potential to meet people that you can work with, like collaborate with on stuff for the rest of your life. So using me as an example, at university, I set up a company called SixMed in collaboration with some friends that I'd made at university, and we'd worked together to set this company up, and actually some school friends as well who were then at university. But we worked together to set this company up, to make all the course materials for our BMAT, UKCAT interview courses, all of this stuff. And I think the company was a success because of the fact that it was a collaboration between so many students and so many friends. Secondly, this YouTube channel benefited a lot from having kind of collaborators, having my friends come on it and give their tips about medicine interviews, all that sort of stuff towards the beginning. So like from that point of view, at university, you get to meet people who are pretty much the same age as you, you know, have very similar interests to you, or you can find people who have similar interests to you, and therefore you can end up working together a lot of the time. And then to use the example of my brother as well. So he studied maths at Oxford, and while he was there, he made these 3 friends, and at the moment they're all in America. He literally moved there like 2 weeks ago. They're in America, in Silicon Valley, working on a startup, just the 4 of them, all mates from university, and this company is doing really well. And I remember something my brother said to me a few years ago. He said that he pointed to a few people in his college, and he said that these are people that I think could be lifelong collaborators with me. I think that's a really nice position to be in, like where you've got this group of friends who aren't just friends, but who are also people that you can see yourself working with. So for me, for example, if I have another idea for a company, I've got in mind, you know, a handful of people that I met through university that I would, you know, in a heartbeat, you know, message about it, talk to them about it, you know, we'll share ideas. And if they were interested, I'd want them to join the team. And then we become this like, you know, group of friends working on this thing together. And I think that's just a really cool thing. And actually, it seems like quite a few of the consultants at Addenbrooke's, the hospital where I work at, quite a few of the consultants know the other consultants because they were all at university together, and they somehow, you know, ended up in Cambridge working together. And I think that's just really cool. They all go around each other's houses for like parties and go out to dinner together. And I think, you know, this thing of making friends as well as collaborators is something that you uniquely get at university. And I can't really think of many other environments where you're surrounded by such a tight-knit group of people who are likely to share such similar interests to you, where you can make this sort of thing happen. All right, so I've talked a little bit about personal development and like love life and stuff, and I've talked a little bit about collaboration. Overall, you know, like obviously there's the academic side of university. You do a degree, you know, for the sake of it, whatever, but this video is about the non-academic side. And the question is university worth it? And that was the question that Universities UK kind of wanted me to answer. And I think if we're deciding whether anything is worth it, we have to think about what the cost is. What is the cost of this experience that you get? There's only really 2 costs, at least in the UK, to going to university. The first one is time, and the second one is money. Now, time is kind of a no-brainer because, you know, everyone says that university is supposed to be the best time of your life, and I can't really think of a better use of time. Like, I can't think of a better way to have spent 6 years of my life than to do medicine at Cambridge. I think it was an absolutely incredible experience. Time is not really a factor. Like, the time is absolutely worth the experience that you get at university. Now, what about money? Now, this is the point where people generally cite, you know, oh, but the tuition fees are £9,000 or higher, and, I don't want to be riddled with student loans for the rest of my life. But, at least from my experience, the way that student finance is set up in the UK, I mean, it's not that you really have to pay much of your own money up front. You get your student loan, which covers all the tuition fees. You get your, no questions asked maintenance grant, which covers a lot of your expenses. If you're from a lower income background, you get loads of bursaries. If you go to particular universities, like Cambridge has a fantastic bursary system for, students from low income backgrounds, you end up being able to fund pretty much your entire university studies just off the money that you get given by the government and by the universities. And yeah, then you do have a lot of money in student loans, but it's not really a loan in that you only start paying it back once you start earning above a certain threshold. And for my year, that threshold was £21,000. And beyond that, you start paying 9% of everything you earn. And that's fine because in a way, it's like a graduate tax. It's like, I've gone to university, I've got this degree. This degree has helped me get this job. This job pays, more than the median salary in the UK. Therefore, I'm going to give 9% of my earnings beyond that point to the government to pay back for my thing. So it's not like in the US and other systems where you feel like you're saddled with $150,000 of debt and then you have to pay it back because you've got these banks and companies chasing you. It's more like, yeah, if you get a high paying job, then you pay an extra tax, which is fine. So at least the way it was when I was at university, money was not really an issue. And for pretty much everyone I know, kind of in my cohort and a few years above and below, money wasn't really an issue because we have such a fantastic system of student finance. Apologies to all the international students who have to fork out their fees themselves. Yeah, money is an issue for you guys. So overall, time, 100% worth it. And money, it's not really a cost that you see. You see that cost, a few years down the line once you're earning money. So again, I think the experience is 100% worth it. So yeah, in conclusion, we've talked a little bit about the personal development side of university, like kind of non-academically. We talked about the fact that you make friends who then also can become collaborators for the rest of your life. And I've pretty much said that, yeah, it's worth the time and it's worth the money because, the time is, you couldn't really be doing anything better with your time. And money-wise, it's more a graduate tax rather than, money you pay up front. At least that's what it was in my cohort. So yeah, thanks very much Universities UK for sponsoring this video. I just want to tell you a little bit about a competition that they're running. Now this is a competition where it closes on 2018. So if you're watching this after that, you can't enter. I'll put some more details in the description below. But essentially, you just need to upload a photo of your favorite memory of university, give it a funky little caption, and then tag at Universities UK in it. And then you've got the chance of winning one of the new iPhone XS's. At least it's new at the time of this recording. Came out a week ago. So yeah, it doesn't cost anything to enter. You might as well just upload a photo, tag Universities UK in it, put a caption, and then you could win the new iPhone XS, which would be very exciting. And then you can become an Apple fanboy just like I am, although I don't have the watch yet. I might get one of those at some point. So yeah, that brings us to the end of the video. Thanks very much for watching. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.